What's up, everyone? How everyone doing today? How y'all doing today, guys?
Hello,
Great.
how are you?
Awesome,
Great.
awesome. Welcome, guys, to the Black Gay Perspective Live. I have my amazing host here, of course, Dante, Misha, but we also have a special guest, El Teddy. How are you doing today, El Teddy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty good. Are y'all ready for tonight's show to get into some topics for tonight, guys?
Yes, of course. But
Interesting
I want
topics.
one thing.
Okay, what's up? You can introduce yourself as well, Misha.
Listen, when you see the intro, I just noticed when it says "gay," my picture pops up,
Say your picture, Papa. What you mean?
and when it says the Black Gay Perspective, when it says "gay," my picture pops up.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, you said in the intro. Okay, gotcha.
I'm gonna choke you. You did that intentionally.
No, I didn't do that. Someone else created
You
that.
made Dante happy when you did that. That's why he laughed first.
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Mm,
So with that though, we have some interesting topics tonight, guys. I'm gonna go over some of the topics with you guys right now. We're gonna talk about the Penguin Random House in Florida parents sue school district over book ban. DeSantis signed this "Don't Say Gay" expansion and agenda affirming care ban. Missouri terminated emergency rule to limit trans care for minors and some adults. And Houston lesbian bar denies insurance over drag show. And then I'm gonna later do a recap with on what's real in reality with our other special guest that's gonna come on later.
mhm.
So for the first topic, guys, I want to get into this topic with you guys, if we may. So the first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about the hold on 1 minute. So I think we're going to talk about the Penguin Random House in Florida parents sued the school district over book ban. So they pulled the book in a a Florida school district, which is talking about race as well as LGBT issues as well. So they are now suing the school district, saying that it limits the students from um different viewpoints and different things like that. But I guess this law go into place with the um is well the law is on trend for Florida in terms of not the don't say gay bill, which what they call it, which we know it's not necessarily that, but that's what they're calling it. It go on trend with that. So I want to get you guys' opinion about that. How do y'all feel about the school pushing back towards this organization pushing back, which is a publishing house? It is pushing back towards the school district in terms of want to sue them for taking this book out of their school. Dante,
Okay.
I want to go to you first.
So a lot of things. I think this. I mean, for what's on the screen right now, all boys aren't blue. Well, one, I commend the author for just writing and expressing his experience through life, growing up being black, growing up uh, being gay, having to deal with that, being molested. I think it's a very good book for adults to read.
Mm.
In regards to children, I don't think that's something that should be in school. Just to read a line. I'm sorry, hold on. Got to get my charger. You might want to give it to somebody else real quickly.
Okay, El Ted, let me get your opinion about that. How you feel about that?
As someone who's taught English in Florida for many years, I've been a part of textbooks adoptions. I've been a part of setting curriculums, deciding which novels are and are not um,
Appropriate.
just enough to be included in curriculum. Having read this book as well, and understanding where this book is and where it would be placed. When we say children, let's be clear. This book would fall in high school curriculum, probably 11th, 12th grade high school curriculum. So we're not talking about third. The problem with Governor Death Sentence, as I call him, is he always equates everything in school as if it's happening to kindergarten students or third graders. Now, if we're going to start to take out excerpts of or one liners from novels and say, oh, that's horrible, I can take out lines from some of the classics like The Scarlet Letter. The Crucible, The Great Gatsby, and dozens of other books because I know the books because I teach them. That's part of the curriculum that I have helped put in place. That if you isolate one line, you could take that line and go a whole lot of places. The thing about it is context and also at what grade level that this is being taught. No one's going to an elementary or middle school or even ninth grade, ninth, 10th grade class and saying, hey, we're reading Boys Aren't Blue today. That's just not how this works. And I think one of the more dangerous parts of what is happening in Florida is this. This is really copycat. Let's be clear. Governor Hot Wheels over there in Texas, Abbott, he and his band of merry thugs started this. And when they started book banning, they've gone as far now is not to just ban books in schools. They've taken books out of public libraries. So now you're affecting all of the masses from being able to read certain texts and certain genres just because you don't like those texts and genres. And so I think that for them to be Republicans saying, oh, we're so anti-big government. Oh my God, we're so this is so antithetical to everything that they stand for. And it just goes back to Governor DeSantis and what he's trying to do, create his own authoritarian government in America and call it Florida.
So a lot of things. This book, Age All Boys Aren't Blue, is actually the age range is 13 and up, and 13 that's about 8th grade, which is still middle school. A text that comes from that line, since you do want to talk about the text that's in that line, and you let me know if this is appropriate for any child to be reading. He reached his hand down and pulled out my dick. He quickly went to giving me head. He then came up and asked if I wanted to try it on him. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind.
But why?
I understand what you're saying.
Let me push back because you did say.
Let's talk about this. Is this something that should be read?
But you're missing the point that I made before. Just because the book says it's 13 to whatnot, you still have the curriculum where you have the district and those people who are specialists within the area that dictate this is where we're going to put this. Authors will tell you that, oh, I wrote this for this. It then becomes the professionals, the people who know the pedagogy, the people who are trained in instruction in literature to say, this is where we're going to put this. And let's be clear, there's no school in all of Florida from the Gulf Stream all the way to the Keys that is putting this book in front of 13-year-olds. There's not a single one. So you're making this law and you're making a rule for something that's not there. It's a scare tactic.
Actually,
that's all it is.
The plaintiffs in this lawsuit, which is the author, he actually feels that. That's
why I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
Okay.
Clearly, the plaintiffs in this lawsuit felt that way. That's why they are filing this lawsuit.
The plaintiffs in the lawsuit simply are saying it should not be obviated from all of school curriculum. It can and should be at least allowed to be in the school library. And if a teacher that's teaching 12th grade or even like an AP Lang in 11th grade says, hey, this is something that we want to read, you can do that because all of the books at that level have sexual innuendos. Sexual connotation.
I mean, if it's specific, I think that's a different story, but we're not talking about that.
But do you feel like that should be an
innocent
like why they discussing that, like that type of behavior? Like
why are we discussing sex? Because as you remember,
I'm not talking about sex in terms of you learning your body, but just a novelty of just a sex book. Why?
But when we talk about sex, we have to talk about sex in its totality at appropriate age levels. When you get to 12th grade, and even some later 11th grade, you're talking about students either 16 up to 18 years old. We talked about before we came on here the fact that Florida, the age of consent is 16. Okay, therefore, if you're at the age where you can do these things actually and consent legally to doing those things, who are you to say that these very same people can't read about someone doing these things? It's oxymoronic. It doesn't even make sense.
I don't know. From
Right.
my
I
from
mean,
my
I
from my
can't follow you at
perspective,
all.
I feel like they shouldn't be talking about that, and not even just on any grade level. I do think that they need to know and learn about sex, but just that type of book in the school, I do get why some people and some parents that are more conservative don't want that type of stuff being taught to
I
their
mean, this
child.
is very explicit language. It's
Yeah, that
you're
and
not
that's the
saying
Okay,
two men fell
but
in love. You're actually talking about a sexual act, and honestly, how to perform a sexual act. This sparks curiosity.
okay, well, let me ask you this.
But people are
Go ahead,
curious at
Bishop.
that age.
Okay, so is it the gay part of it or is it the sex part of it? Because mind you, even in the 60s, dads were hiding playboys from their sons, and the sons were finding the playboys, taking them
but
to
that's at home. That's
Well,
not the
first
school.
of all, because you're talking about one inappropriate behavior does not make the other
no,
inappropriate behavior
no,
okay.
no, no, I'm not. No, I'm not trying to equate which is, I'm just trying to say, is it the gay sex that people are up in an uproar about, or is it the sex period?
I
Well,
think
wait till we start talking about drags. I actually have a quote of a lip sync that a drag was doing. So it's not just that, and actually that drag queen was talking about pussy. So we can pick. I'm just talking about the explicit language in front of children, and that's what people
Explicit
are just.
language, first of all, let's be clear. You
Explicit
Try
can't
again.
language
have
on the
it both ways. You cannot in one breath say it's okay for this 16, 17-year-old child to do all of the things and have all of the sex that they want, and at the same time says, but we don't want you to read about it. Let's be clear. You reading one or two sentences from a book does not make this porn, because if that's the case, every play that's by Shakespeare and every classic novel that is read right now has been read, is still read, and is not on the verge of being banned. If I can pull out actual verbiage that talks about penis entering vulvas, talks about getting wet, talking about having fingers entered into them and them being pleasured. These are the classics. So where do we draw the line? It absolutely looks and sounds like there's we're okay with sex as long as it ain't gay sex. And that is
that's
where
what I
there's the problem.
I don't think it's that. It's that there is some language that is being said in these books, and these children are reading it. These children are then, some of them are probably going to experiment.
but
Mhm.
Dante,
Gonna
don't
experiment it whether they read it or not.
right, and
But
don't here
but
on
the
the
question,
radio.
guys, is it because this of like I know that a lot of like you said, death to Sanchez. What if this law was in another state? Like could this is a question
It
for
is in several other states, which
right?
is the problem.
So you
And
think
let's be clear,
you think that's okay to have that type of language in a space where you
here's
going
the
to school?
problem. The reason that we have things like freedom of speech is because what happens is you have people dictating what is and is not good language, because they're not just stopping at the language that involves gay people. They're going toward language that includes minority. See,
Right. So
get
that was a
fixated-
point in
hold on. We get
by race.
fixated all about, oh, it's sex, 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 because that's what they want to get you geared toward, when in the background they're banning books on race, they're banning books on diversity, they're banning books on equity. All of those things are being banned, but they're over there screaming, "Oh, it's the gay people! You can't have gay sex in the classrooms." And all the while, they're banning anything that deals with the history of any marginalized group. And I always say, when you start to allow discrimination on one marginalized group, please get ready, because that's going to happen to every marginalized group. And let's be clear, this is culture. Books are a part of culture. And when you start to eliminate the culture of a certain group of individuals or people, you are trying to eliminate those people. We are on the cusp of this country having states that reenact sodomy laws. The Supreme Court already told you in their ruling that they're ready to put that back on the books. They're ready.
So I think, okay, just to interject
So
here,
El
because
Cheto,
you're getting a lot ahead of yourself. It's not just
but
white
shouldn't
parents. It's not just white parents who have an issue with this context. It's a lot of black parents who have an issue with this as well. So it doesn't have anything to really do with race. There are some black parents that's upset. And speaking of what you said, what you call him, Death DeSantis. Trust me, I don't like him either. But guess what? The people of the state of Florida, they love him, especially the black people, because
Actually,
he did
go
get
check the
19 points
statistics.
in
His
his
very
last reelection.
own
So there's a
party,
lot of people in that
he
state that
is
love him very well.
failing in his own party statistically with all of these hot button issues. His own party, Republicans in Florida, are not here for the things that he's putting in place. Go look up the
Well,
statistics. They're all there.
Trust me, I
Somebody
know
here
he's
They're
doing
all
a lot
there.
of this just to run for presidency, and he's not going to even win that.
He's not. And so now you have a whole state of people
But
that will be
we're getting
subjected to
beside the point. That's
authoritarian
the
rule.
semantics. Let's talk about this language
I
that's in
think
the
parents should
textbook.
have the right to say no on
Let's
that.
focus on that.
I say something. Is
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
man.
Misha.
is it that kind of verbiage and that kind of allude to throughout the whole book?
Mm-mm.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It is not.
So it's a own. It's
And
a
let's
own,
be clear.
it's,
And let me say this, and I come from education, so I can say this. Parents always have the right. And what I mean by that is this. Before a book is put in front of a child that has questionable content and language, that parent is informed, and they are always given the right to say, I don't want my child to learn that. And just like you push and say, well, a parent has the right to say their child doesn't want to have to read that, a parent also has the right to say, this is worthwhile literature that I do want my child exposed to. So you can't have it where you're only looking at or making rules that are governed or that apply to one group of people and excluding everyone else. And parents always have the right to say, I don't want my child reading that. That's a part of every school district from sea to shining sea. So
Well,
I don't get where
what's going
there
to
has to
settle
be
this
laws
is
put in place.
I think what's going to
That
settle
people
all of
remove
this
the book.
is at the local level when it comes to election and certain people in the board
No,
are
no. This
removed.
isn't at the local level. This is a statewide law. They are
No,
basing it on
it starts at
state
a
law.
review. The books start at a district review. This got escalated because a language arts teacher filled out a form in Florida.
That's
She filled out a
but you have to
reconsideration
know the
form in
basis of where
Florida,
it comes
and
from.
it
It comes
sparked
from
something.
the
She
bill.
continued to lose,
It
and she
comes, but
continued to
you're
appeal, and she
misfounded
got
on that.
Governor
It comes
DeSantis
from the
involved with it,
bill.
and that's where we are.
It comes from a bill that is a state law that says you cannot have a book sitting in a classroom unless we approve it. And that's why that teacher went that this isn't a district thing. This is a state law, which is why across the state, school districts all over the state are having to tell teachers, you need to take down that library until you get every single book in there put through a board that is appointed by the governor who gives them directives. These are the books that we don't want. These are the subject matters that we don't want. And please be clear, it's not going to stop at gay sex. It
so let me
keeps
ask you
going
this.
for
So
everything.
You're going a little bit too far
from
with
your
this.
perspective.
I'm not. Those are the
You
laws.
are
I'm
going a
not
little
going
bit too
too far.
far.
He is.
You are.
That's his
So-
law.
So are you saying that it's okay? You okay with this type of book or this language being in a book with your, like, if you had a child going to that school, to be clear, El Teddy?
What was that? I'm sorry.
I was asking El Teddy, was he okay with that language being in that book and your child attending that school or being a part of that literature class?
Absolutely. And I say that because you have some excerpts like that in every single novel, especially on the high school level. Hell, on ninth grade level, you have novels that you can pull an excerpt and it sounds very explicit and graphic. Those are the classics. The novels are teaching you about life. They are giving stories about real people and experiences. And because of that, these are things that they have to learn and interact with. You can't say, oh, I never want you to read about that because we never want you to know about that. And then they end up not being able to grapple with those things, end up not being able to know how to approach those subject matters and take them in the seriousness that of which they are.
Can I ask both of y'all, all three of y'all, a question?
Go ahead.
First of all, El Teddy, is it kind of okay with you because you are a gay man?
No, no.
Okay. What about you?
not.
What about
And I say that because the reason that I say I'm okay with it because I've read the novel. I know this is not a novel that, oh, every time you turn a page, it has that. It's not that. The other reason that I say that is I am not about excluding subject matters just because I have a problem with it. Because once we start to do that, we censor people and we start to censor life. Life isn't like that. There's a lot of things that is in a school library that I personally may be like, oh, I don't like that. And at home with my own kids, I might say, listen, we're not here for that. We're not, no. But should it not be in the school at all? Absolutely not, because this is worthwhile literature.
Okay, so you're saying up to the parent. That's all you're saying. And the whole argument, all you're saying is it's up to the parent.
I said that they didn't need to put a law in place. It could have remained like it was, where a parent has always had the right to come in and say, I don't want my child reading this book.
Okay.
And their child doesn't have to read it. But the rest of the kids and their parents have the right. They have to sign consent forms to allow them to read these types of books.
I totally agree with that part. I just feel like if the parents have a say so, which you said they do, then to say that the other children that's at a mature level.
Wait, I'm sorry. Then what are these parents coming to the school board meetings for, complaining about?
What they're complaining about is they change.
They're going to the
Sir,
school board
you're
meeting.
You've missed the whole point here.
They're not
missed
just
the whole argument,
and you know,
sir, you're missing the point.
There is something that their children are reading that they disagree with, and again,
but
it's not just Caucasian.
No,
it
sir, you're all over the place.
Parents in general,
they are saying that
agree with
not to remove it from the school completely. All they're saying is these things shouldn't be.
I'm happy that Mr. Johnson
shouldn't be removed completely.
To talk about how he was molested and all that. He can speak his truth. But having language like that in school, if it was my child, I will pull my child out of the school.
That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. What happens is the child and the child would send home a consent form. The parent would get to say, I don't want my child reading that. And that child would be given an alternate assignment. But I wonder if your 11th grade child who reads the Scarlet Letter, which goes into gross detail about sex that happens between a pastor, a priest, and this unmarried woman, whether or not you'd have as much problem. You probably would not. And their argument isn't that whether or not a parent should have the right. They're saying don't take it completely out of the books, because now parents don't have a choice. Parents don't have a choice with the new law. Everything's being removed. There's no choice there.
Yeah. I get. I think also. I think it's not surprising the fact that Florida is taking on these with the governor taking these putting these laws in place. I don't think them trying to do this is so surprising. As well as, like Dante said, it is some parents are complaining as well. So it's kind of like,
but here's the situation that I said earlier that's being forgotten. The focus is on that text right there because it involves sex. You're missing the whole point that they're removing everything that goes through the whole histories of whole groups of people. Books that have been heralded, that are award winning by Black authors, by Latinx authors, by AAPI authors are being removed for the same reason.
Race as well. It was race and LGBT.
Okay. So El Teddy, you're saying it's going to become a domino effect.
No, it's not going to become. It already has. That's the point. It already is happening. You go to Florida right now, and teachers have already been told remove books from the library. And these are not books that have anything to do with sex. These are books that involve race. These are books that say you have to treat people equally. Hell, in the great state of Alabama,
is complaining about removing all. I forgot Mr. Johnson's book. If a Black parent is complaining about that, what would you say? Is it still about race, or is it still about the context that's in the book that they don't want their child?
About whose book?
About All Boys Aren't Blue. If a Black parent doesn't want their child to read it, is it still about race, or is it about the context that's in it? Because there are not just white parents that's upset about some of the
All Boys Aren't Blue book has nothing. That involving race. That has nothing to do.
There's several books that the plaintiffs mentioned.
Dante, I think what he's saying is
it's not a domino effect. No, I get what he's saying. It's not a domino effect. That's just an illusion that the other side is trying to simply use.
That's real world. You can go right now
every single time to rile Black people up behind a cause that's really
sir,
it really doesn't.
Sir, you are speaking from a place of ignorance. your
No, I'm not. I'm
from your
actually
seat.
speaking from a place
I'm
of
speaking from a
intelligence.
place of
No,
someone still
because
certified
clearly
in
you haven't
Florida
done your research
who's
because you
on
would
the
have a more
phone every
intellectual
day
conversation if you
with
did.
people in Florida. This is really happening. You got to go do some research. This
But
is
at the
really
Do
same
some
time,
research.
hell.
El Teddy, though,
You're
y'all
correct.
do
You
have
should
the
do.
Sanchez in office, so a lot of people is agreeing or going that way to Florida
A
as
lot of people. And
Florida
moving
as
to
a
I'm
Florida,
whole.
by
glad
the
you
way.
mentioned that.
And moving
I'm
to
glad you
Florida.
mentioned that because you're talking about Sanchez being in office. Let's be clear about how and what's going on with DeSantis. DeSantis, over the last 5 years, have turned that state into authoritarian rule. How? Because we
But who
had
put them there,
certainly
El
the
Teddy?
legislature.
Put them
You had
there.
the legislature that was Republican, but you had a Supreme Court that was Democrat. And what did he do? He removed all of the Democrats off of that Supreme Court and then put very heavily right-leaning Supreme Court justices there that he appointed so that when he went and orchestrated his own gerrymandered voting district and rejected the one that his own Republican Party gave him, and he told them that's not red enough for me. That's not discriminatory enough for me, and I'm not going to accept it. And went and drew his own gerrymandered maps. And then when it got to the Supreme Court, filled with people he had appointed, it went through
But I
without
think
a
the
Well,
point
problem.
I'm
you know
And
saying
what?
so
is
when
We
you
have more
put him
topics
orchestrate
to
your
there.
talk about
own
with
But
win,
put
DeSantis to
him
get
you're
you
there.
going to
riled up so we
win.
can go to the next
What are we
subject.
I
talking
didn't
about?
put him there. Is what I'm saying. So Florida is very Republican at the end of the day as the massive because y'all put him there, not
Right.
y'all.
And
You know,
guess what?
the Florida.
Democratic
That
counties actually voted for him. They
So
did.
they're agreeing with his
The
policy.
same,
you
the
are
same,
not
the
you are
same
not
governor that
looking
you're
at the
upset
no
about,
no no no. Let's
people
be clear.
in
And
that
Dante,
party voted for him. And
Dante,
record
you
numbers.
claiming to be somebody who's
Record
political,
numbers.
saying that counties voted for him makes you seem like you don't know what you're talking about because you know
No, I
counties
do know what I'm
are
talking about. He
drawn
actually
out and
flipped those
carved out
counties.
so
He
that
did flip
even the
those
bluest
counties.
of counties
He
can be
did.
mapped out and drawn out to make it look red. Hell, we got Clyburn over there in South Carolina that gerrymandered the district to give more blue states, I mean, more red areas in blue areas so that they can make it where it's gerrymandered for their own bidding. It's not about counties. It's about how districts are gerrymandered and pieced together
But
purposely
so do
for
you
the
really
point of
think
getting
that was the
people
case on how the
vote.
Sanchez? I think the Florida people really got behind him ultimately, and
Exactly.
the majority of the Florida people agree with his policy. You don't feel like that's the fact, El Teddy?
That's not how, trust me.
Okay.
Someone who's on the ground, somebody who knows the numbers. That's
Really?
not how that works. That's
Okay.
not how that
He's
works.
sitting well at
Right now, the
59% with
statistics
his
right
state
now they don't
for
even
job
support
approval.
most of his
And on that note, guys, we're gonna go to our next topic because I think we're not gonna agree with that. But I do think it's
Definitely won't.
important, simply fact of I feel that conservative parents that have believe in certain things when it comes down to religions and different things like that, if they don't want their child to um with that type of language, I think that's okay because some people when they send their child to school, they really just want to talk about of course the math, the social study, stuff like that. So I kind of get why some parents do not want their child to be in that type of thing because they feel
but
like
some do, and some should have the right to say
okay,
that
that's fair.
they want that.
Yeah,
Some do.
you got that point out several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's
Yeah.
let's not
And it's not even
remove
going
rights
nowhere.
from people.
Okay. That's yes, sir. So let's go on to the next one, guys. Our next topic is going to be
Still on this man.
Sanchez, right? So with the "Don't Say a Gay" bill. That's what we call it, right?
And right, and that's unfair to do that
It's
because then we
it's
start
not
playing with
unfair
L.
to do
Telly's
it, but
mind
that's
game.
what we
That bill is
call it.
actually not called "Don't Say
Um,
Gay." It's called parental rights and education. Let's
right.
start calling these things what it is and stop using certain language and words to get people riled up behind something that's not true. And let's
Why,
actually
Right.
read the
how you
language
draw
and the
that?
laws.
That's why I'm making it, but that's what we call it because that's how the majority of people identify. They
I
don't,
know, and that's how
and it's
people get
funny.
worked up
It's
over
kind
something
of
that's
funny
really
too,
not
though,
there.
right? So they have also did an expansion on this bill, which the new measure prohibits sexual orientation or gender identity instruction in pre-K kindergarten through 8th grade, restricted reproductive health education in the 6th to 12th grade, and require that reproductive health instruction be age appropriate or developmental appropriate for students in accordance with the state standard. The bill applies to both public and charter school. So with this, not only do they, did the Dose Gay bill, but he also doubled down on it when it come down to gender and affirming care ban. How do you guys feel like this is going to affect in terms of, and not just the gay community as a whole, but in terms of the Black community, in terms of when it come down to a lot of the Black youth identifying as transgender as a young age, or identifying as gay at the young age, because we have so many different things where you're able to come out and be yourself at this point now. So how do you guys feel about this bill, and how do you guys feel like this bill will affect us as a people as a whole in terms of the Black gay community?
I mean, House Bill 1069. I mean, my personal opinion, I'm not somebody that's for pronouns. I think it's kind of ridiculous, or calling somebody by their personal title.
So you mean like you're not for he, she, and they?
I think it's ridiculous that we have come to a point in our society where we're writing laws that should be common sense, that we have to tell people.
Not common sense.
It is common sense that we have to tell singular people that they're not plural. I'm sorry.
How do you feel about that, L. Teddy?
Otherworldly. Anyway, dear God above, I think that people have the right, as a living, breathing human being. If you tell me that you want me to call you so and so, you should have that right. The problem with this bill is, see, there's always things that they want to throw out to the rabid dogs, the dog whistles that get their attention off of certain things. And then there are other things that go under the radar. This doesn't just affect students. This affects the teachers as well. Now a teacher is not allowed to be addressed by a certain pronoun. And there are teachers that are trans and are no longer allowed to be addressed
so let
by
me ask you this,
pronouns or salutations that they identify as. Right now,
So,
in addition to that,
right, it is that person's right to be called whatever pronoun they want to be called, but it's also that other person's right not to call you that.
What can I say this? Can I say this?
if you're talking about what to call somebody, somebody can, say they have the right to call you the N-word. A white person can do that every day if they want to as well.
Yes,
and we're going to go down that road of what people can and cannot be addressed by.
Let's definitely go into the the sheet, because Dante said he don't feel like they should be able.
Can I say this about?
Go ahead.
To me, Misha, being trans, I think it's a slippery slope that we put ourselves in. That's why I don't go into call me she, call me Misha. If you respect that, you will respect me. We know Tina Turner as Tina. We know Tina Turner as Tina Turner. Tina Turner was not born Tina Turner, but we call her Tina Turner because it's what she chooses to be called. So if you can do that for her and she's a star, why can't you do that for your neighbor that lives down the street from you?
That's right.
Why can't you respect? Why can't you respect that? Why do we have to let somebody else tell us how to respect somebody? Why can't you say? Why can't you just say, this person is Misha? Whatever they identify as, whatever they tell me, whatever I see, let me respect them for that. I don't need a fucking bill or a prescription to say that. I just need to see what I see and go on about my business. It doesn't cost you anything to respect somebody.
The other part about it is, in the last segment, y'all were going on and on and on about parents' rights. Written into this bill now is, if I as a parent say that I want my child, that my child told me that they identify as trans, and I want my child to go through whatever surgeries, not only will they be removed, not allowed to have that surgery, they'll be removed from that parent's home and put into the state's custody.
But that's different with surgery.
Yeah, that's different. That's Senate Bill S254. Those are two different bills we're talking about. What you're talking about, Senate Bill 254.
Yeah, I think that's
different. No. Yeah, all of those were signed today. All of those were signed today.
Yeah,
all of them
were signed today, but you're talking about two.
All of them were signed today.
Right. So that is just expansion.
It's right. It may be two separate bills. It may be 1,000 worlds away from signing C.
So Misha, Misha, in reality, and respectfully, you're going to have some people like myself and the gay community and other people who will call you Misha, will call you by your preferred name because that's what you want to be called by, and we will respect you by that.
Of course.
In reality, there are some people on this earth, and we have to be honest with our young gay people. There are going to be some people on this earth who's not going to respect that.
Okay. And with
that's okay.
And us trying to make them feel like this tribalism and these social media likes is you're in this little box. No, once you finish high school and college, you're going to go out into the real world. And when you go out into that real world, even if it's in a small town, you're going to have some people that's going to look at you and not call you by your name.
But that's not okay.
Okay, well,
that's not okay. That's not okay.
Yes,
we established that years ago. That's not okay.
If they don't want to call you, listen, if you're a person who transitioned from a male to a female and that other person feels that you are not a biological female, they have the right not to address you as such. They do.
Okay, well,
it is disrespectful, but guess what? They have the right to do that.
So you're meaning that people have the right to disrespect other people and it just be okay? No.
But is it disrespect though in terms of, that's what I mean by that. What if based up on their morals and what they've been taught based up on following the Bible in terms of religion? Because we all know a lot of people.
Wait a minute. No.
The Bible was just a religion for slavery. What are you talking about?
That's why I said let me finish my thought. That's why I said let me finish my thought.
They're not the Bible in this. No, because in the Bible.
No, this is my perspective. Let me finish my thought. I promise you, I'm not saying what you think I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I'm simply saying if a person, you got from my experience, I grew up in a cult, meaning a church cult, meaning we did not socialize with the outside world till I was at a certain age. So I did not even know what a trans person was. Right. So what I'm simply saying I'm not saying that they deliberately disrespecting you, but if they don't know or what they've been taught is so in terms of, we all know this when it comes down to religion in the state. A lot of people get away with a lot of stuff if you go under religion. In terms of that, you can get away with a lot of stuff because we all know, based up on the Constitution, the state and when it comes down to the church and the state, it is a separate thing. So what I'm saying,
but where do you draw the line? Because you got a lot of white people who never grew up around black people, never met a black person until they went to the big city, and they might have been taught in religion that they were supposed to be slaves according to the Bible, and they could go around
okay, I'm not. That's a religious statement to say black people had slaves as well. So please stop.
Okay, well, let me say this.
Where do we draw the line?
I didn't finish my thought, but you can go, Misha. I wasn't saying.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Nobody say nothing. Pause them. Go ahead, say it.
What I'm simply saying is, if a person have that view in life because that's how they was raised and it's out of ignorance, based up on when you learn better, you do better. But if it's out of ignorance, they don't see that, like, because they was taught when it come down to this is a man, this is a woman, then of course that person should be given grace until you educate them or whatever. So that's what I'm simply saying. Okay. A lot of things is out of what you've been taught in the church or what you've been or what your parents instilled in you. So you're not going out in the world to be disrespectful. But if you ultimately believe that, I just don't believe in gay marriage. I ultimately don't believe in that based up on my principles or what I've been taught as a child when it comes down to this and that. That's the only point I'm coming
from. Well, let me ask you this.
For those people with religion.
This then.
Okay.
What do you do? What do you do when you meet someone like Misha? And you just meet somebody like Misha. Oh my God, I think she's amazing. I think this and I think that. And you know this was born a male. In your mind, this was born a male. But I just don't see that.
I'm telling you what, it be conflict because you like the person, but you be like, I really believe this though, but I like Misha.
Okay. So when you get in a conversation with Misha and these things come up, you can't still remain the same.
It can be uncomfortable sometimes because you've been taught. Okay.
You can't still remain the same. If you're having an intelligent conversation with Misha and you see whatever you want to see, but you know what you want to know, you still can't remain the same.
Okay, that's a fair point. I give you that.
Okay, with that name change and all that bullshit, even in the Bible, Jesus renamed 100 damn people.
Okay, that's
what's the argument here? What is the argument?
So,
The
that's
other part about it is this.
be
Let me
about,
let me
like,
say this
pronoun
unequivocally.
should not be like.
But
What was you saying, Dante? You say what you said when
Nah,
you say
nah.
about the
El
pronoun.
Teddy, go ahead.
the thing that I want to say is this. This goes with what we're talking about now, or even before. I don't have a problem if somebody says, "This is how I feel. This is how I believe." You have every right to believe how you feel, and I will fight for you to feel
Of
that way.
course.
Mhm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
you also do not have the right to dictate that everyone must abide by how you feel or what you believe in, because everybody doesn't believe that. And
I
so
agree.
my point being is there shouldn't be laws written in the books that
Right.
allow for people to be
But to be
wholeheartedly
disrespected.
disrespected. There
Right.
shouldn't be laws in the books that
All
force
about
people into being ostracized, being objectified, and being made to feel like they are less than
less
human,
than. That's
as if
all
they
it's about.
don't have the same rights.
And that's
That's
all
the
it's about.
problem.
It's about respect the person. And from now until whenever, I'm not taking no disrespect from nobody. If I walk up to you and you say, "What's your name?" and I say Misha, and you know that I'm born male, and you come and address me and say he, I may give you grace that first time. I may
Mm-hmm.
give you grace that first time, but that second and third time, no, bitch, you're doing that being disrespectful. So let me teach you two things. One thing is, don't ever say anything else to me. Secondly, I am not the one to fucking be played with, because these fucking, just because you are a man and you dress like a woman and you want the world to treat you like a woman, it's not about that. It's respect.
I
It's
totally agree. It's
respect.
respect me. I'm just giving up my perspective because you gotta understand
And
everybody is who they are based upon how they was raised at the end of the day.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not taking it personal. I'm just simply saying
but you know what, Misha? There's still a lot of skewed perspective on this, because this same bill forces people. It says that in public places or in government buildings, you have to go into the bathrooms based on the gender at birth. They always make that thinking about trans women.
That's something
What
that
about our
first thing
trans
comes to
brothers
their
and
mind.
sisters? Some of whom, if some of our trans brothers and sisters walk into that woman's bathroom, some of those very same
I
women
totally
that
agree. It
want
should
no
be the
parts
same
of
way
that
across
are
the
going to
board.
have a problem.
I agree with you, El Tater, on that. You're right. When they do think it do trans, I agree with that. It should be across the board. Right is right and wrong is wrong if we look at it that way.
Okay, if you're looking at it that way with that, why can't you look at it that way? Not saying you, but I'm saying the world
Okay,
in general.
I got you.
Why can't you look at it in, okay, this person has been living their life. I am 45 fucking years old. I've been living my life as Misha since Hector was a fucking puppy. Hector dead and in the motherfucking grave. So why can't you respect that?
I agree.
Why can't you just say, you know what, I'm gonna let this person be whatever I feel or however I feel. I don't have to be in this person's face. I'm just getting a service. I may be slanging motherfucking burgers. She wants to be called Misha. She wants to be called a woman. I don't give a fuck if she got a full beard and fucking 12-mile long fucking lashes. I'm gonna call her Misha, get my motherfucking burger, get in my car and drive away. Now I might call my friend on the way home. Oh, you seen this caricature of a person? But in my face, respect me. What is so bad about respecting me? What is so bad about a child knowing that they're born trans? Knowing that they're born trans at 9 years old, making a decision. You know what, mom and dad, not DeSantos, not Trump,
But let me
not.
ask you this, Misha, because you also agree too that the
Okay.
surgery it shouldn't be at a certain age too, Misha.
But let's be clear, they're not
No.
giving surgeries to 9 and 10 years old. That's not happening.
That's
That's a
what
Puberty
I'm
monitoring
blockers
right.
is a
situation.
That's not what I'm
prescription. It
saying.
I
stops
know that's not what
I'm
you're saying, but
saying.
it sounds like
And
that because I know you agree that it should be an age limit on when it comes down
That's
to
what
these
I'm
things.
saying. You just don't wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm trans," and the next week you go apply for. You go put your money on the table, put your body on the table, and say, "Oh, I want a pussy." No, that's
And a
not how it
minor
goes.
can't get any treatment from a doctor unless it's signed off from
Consent.
by the parents anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
No,
but this
it's not
bill
like
stopped the
that.
The
parent.
parents
But this bill,
consent.
but this bill also stopped the parent for even doing that too.
Now,
So
okay, so now you're gonna tell me how to raise my child. You want me to
Mind
be
you,
a
y'all were
parent?
just telling us that parents should have control
I
over how to
do,
raise
You
their
I
want me
child.
to
do,
be
I
a
do,
parent,
but
but I
I do
can't raise
feel
my
like
child now.
surgeries is
Come on.
different though. I do feel surgery
when
is
it
different
comes to
though, if I'm being honest. But I do,
Okay,
yeah, that's true.
but
those
like
are
we just said,
life-changing decisions that
like
that
we just
children
said,
do not have the development mind to actually make.
In your
Just
The
house.
children are not
In
making
your
them.
house,
if you want to
Dante.
transition,
In your
you
house.
have the right to transition at 18 years or older. But I think
But let's be
talking to
clear,
a,
a child is not
talking to
making
a
that
child
decision.
about transitioning
Dante.
at a young age, that's something. No,
Can,
no,
can I say
that's
A
something
something?
child
that
is
Can I
not
say
making that
something?
with.
decision.
And
That's
anybody
a
Can I
that
say?
parent
wants,
that's
Can I
making
ask
that
you a
decision.
question? Can I ask y'all a question? Can I ask
if the
all
parent
three
is
of y'all
making
a
that
question?
decision, that's something even more scary. That the parent want their child to get something cut off.
No, Dante, that's not how that goes, baby.
Right.
Can I ask you something?
You're
I'm so
giving out a
sorry. I'm
lot of
so sorry.
disinformation
Or
right
to
now,
You,
which
stop
is
I don't
dangerous.
know.
or to
I don't
stop your
right. I
body
don't know
from
where
developing
you.
the way that it's supposed to be. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not supposed. Oh, okay, I get you now. So you don't. What your main focus is? You just don't believe in trans.
Right.
Just
That's
don't.
what you just
Okay.
basically said.
So yeah. So that's what you're saying.
Is that what you saying, Dante?
I didn't say that, but go ahead.
You said that way
That's
their
what
body is
they
supposed
say.
to be.
Yeah,
You
that's what
just
I
literally
said. You
said
just said
stopping their
that.
bodies from being the way it's
But
supposed
he
to
also
be.
said at
You
18.
don't get to make that
Yeah, I also
decision.
said at 18. I
18,
also
yeah.
said at 18. I have no problem with if you want to
Wait a
transition
minute,
at 18
Dante.
years or
Wait a
older,
minute.
that is completely fine. But anybody sitting down talking to a minor, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a parent, whether it's a counselor, about changing your body parts, something is wrong with that individual. And actually, that individual needs to seek counseling. And after they seek counseling, they
Okay.
need to get
So now
arrested.
it's
Dante,
crazy. So now
please be
it's
clear.
crazy. So
Dante,
now
please
it's
be clear.
crazy.
The only reason that adult is talking to that child is because that child has probably spent a very long time wrestling with that themselves and finally found the courage and gumption
To
enough
let
to
it
say,
out.
I need to talk to somebody. This isn't when I'll wake up one day and say, hey, son of mine, I want to chop off your penis and make
Right.
a
It
goddamn
don't work
No,
girl.
like
but
It
what
that,
some of
doesn't
this
work
Dante.
like that.
is, oh my God, I see this on social media, and I need to find something because I
But
feel a
there is
certain type of way.
still, but that's a
Dante,
process. There
no.
are
Yeah,
therapy,
it's a
there's therapy
process,
that goes into
Dante.
place. They have to sit down and talk
It's a
to doctors
process.
and therapists for a
Yeah, it's
very
not.
long time before
The
Yeah.
you
same
even
bill
get
that you are,
close
the
to
same bill that
getting
we're talking about,
hormones
SB
or
25
getting
four,
surgery.
it
Okay, well,
does people who are
Dante.
already going through the transition, who are on puberty blockers. That same bill allows that person to still continue to receive the prescriptions that they were receiving before this bill is going to go into effect on July 1st of 2023. If you continue
But
to
that's
read that,
just the current one.
if you
What
still
about
continue to
next
read
year?
that
What
bill,
if a child comes to that decision next year?
Okay,
that child doesn't
Dante.
have that option.
Okay,
When
Dante.
you're
Which
18
is
years
the
or older,
problem?
when you're 18 years or older, you can make that life-changing
But
decision.
what if? But Dante, you're not getting it, sweetheart. You're not getting it. And I'm not coming from a place of this is I'm slapping trans in Dante's face. No, this is not coming from. I'm trying to make you understand the process of a trans person because I live it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I walk it every day. Dante, it doesn't work like that. Dante, you wrestle with it first yourself. You wrestle with the inside yourself. No mom may not know. No daddy may not know. Nobody may not know. You're wrestling with this yourself
Hmm.
inside. So
Wrestling
then
with what
What
exactly?
you mean by that, Misha?
Right.
Explain it for us.
you're wrestling with I'm my okay. My dad makes me stand up to people. I feel like I want to sit down, but I have the tools that people are supposed to stand up with. It's small stuff like
Okay,
that you
you talking
deal
about, okay,
with.
you talking about the bottom area stuff, right?
It's small stuff you deal like that with. Then let's say you grow up to 22, 23 years old. Oh my God, I feel like a woman is
Very
a
negligent for you to make this 18-year-old argument because they'll start to say the same thing about being gay. And they'll start to say, no, you can't be 12-year-old and figure out that you like boys because you
and
have to like
let's
girls
and
until you become 12 years old. There, it's a slippery slope.
It's not a
You're going
slippery
down a
slope.
very
it
slippery slope
is.
here.
I'm not sure why we keep going back to that argument, but it's not a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope.
It's
So
not a
when you
slippery slope.
so when you
It's
get to
actually the
that
same
point,
level.
so Dante, you want me to know that I woke up one day. Let's say I woke up at 7 years old and I just feel different. I don't know the terminology of trans. I don't know the terminology of gay. I just know I feel different from my brother. I know I do things different from my brother. I know I'm more feminine. I go toward the feminine things of life. So you
Mm-hmm.
want
There's feminine
brother?
straight men.
But here's a part of the argument that a whole lot of people don't want to address, but it affects them as well. What about those who are intersex? What about them?
Okay, that's fair.
And
Because
what
now
about
you're saying, nope, you can't have anything either.
Nah, actually, the law addresses that as well.
The law actually says it applies to intersex as well.
It the
It
law
does.
address
That's what
the
it does.
law
It applies
addresses that
across the
as
board.
well.
There are no
Yeah, the law
provisos.
addresses that as well, and it
There
allows
are no
the
provisos for
doctor
intersex. There's
and that
not.
patient, it allows the doctor and that patient to make a decision what is best for that patient. It addresses that well. Stop the
But
slippery
that's a
slope
slippery
argument
slope because
because
it
that's what a
doesn't
lot
say
of
for
people do. They try
intersex.
to get our
Nope,
community
no,
riled up and
no, you're
scared about
wrong,
a lot of
Dante.
things that
It
just does
does
not
not
exist. The
specify
devil's always in the
intersex.
details,
It
and reading is
says
very
that the
fundamental.
doctor and the parents can talk, but it also in the next paragraph says that a doctor could lose their license and be jailed for 5 years if they give treatment to somebody and they deem it not worthy of
Mhm.
treatment.
Yeah, they do say
see?
that too.
It does say that, but I think you need to read that full
I think
subsection
you
of
need to
that.
read because there's
No, no, I
no
think you
proviso
need
for
to read it. You
intersex.
need to read the full subsection
I
because the
have. I
penalty
really have.
applies. The
I
penalty
really
applies to
have.
certain other sections of it, and not specifically for that. And it does talks about what
There's
you're indicating.
no
It
carve
does.
out
It
for
does. It
intersex at all.
does.
There's no
It
carve out
does.
for that. None.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So
Final thought,
so
Misha. I want you to get a final thought, Misha,
I
simply because, like I said, I feel like this is, we're
just
definitely.
want the Dantes of the world to know this is
This,
nothing. This is nothing. It's not funny. It's our life. It's not funny at all. This is something that we have to deal with. I don't care if you're 5 or 45. We have to deal with this, and it's not funny. The reason why it's not funny because it's knocking at my door. It's
okay,
knocking at
that's I
it's
got you.
knocking at somebody's door who's in bed wrestling with this shit, committing suicide, running away from home, getting on drugs. It affects you mentally. And then the first thing that y'all want to do is y'all want to laugh and point fingers and say, "Oh, you're a boy anyway. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this." No, it's deeper than that. Nobody wants to wake up and be trans. Nobody. Because
Wait, I'm sorry.
nobody.
I'm so sorry. But you are waking up and making that choice. You are making that choice.
No,
No,
I'm waking.
that's
Oh
dangerous.
my God.
Dante, that's
Oh
dangerous.
my
That's
God.
very
Okay.
dangerous language right there,
Okay.
Dante.
Okay.
That's
Can we go to
unfair.
the next
That's
topic? Can we
dangerous
go to the
language
next
right there.
topic? Can we go to the
Yeah,
next
Dante,
topic?
you that's
That just cut
negligent
me
and
to the
dangerous
bone. That
language.
cut me to the bone. Can we go to the next topic, please?
Yeah, that's dangerous language right there. That's
Yeah.
very dangerous.
Very, very. But it's okay. Go. What's the next topic, Boo Boo Kitty?
Okay. All right, guys. So the next topic we're gonna go into, which it goes into Missouri terminates emergency rules to limit trans care for minors and some adults. So what that means is the rule will have require adults and children to undergo more than a year of therapy and fulfill other requirements before they could receive gender affirming care. So I want to give you guys opinion about that. What do you guys feel about that in terms of it will give me 1 minute.
Actually, I thought that what happened was the judge ruled that that law couldn't stay.
Right.
The attorney general said that you had to go through all of these various steps in order before that happened, and the judge said you
The
can't
judge
do that
said
because you
doesn't,
didn't
right.
go through
So
the
that's why I said it
legislature.
would,
Yeah.
the law would have required that, but they saying
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it would have required them to do that, but now they do not have to go through that long extension to get gender affirming care. So which I do think it's a win for trans people that's saying, I'm a trans, that's how I identify, and I want to go through that whatever that process. So I do think
Well,
this
the state legislator is cooking
Yeah.
something
It
up. So
won't be for long.
I wouldn't
It
even say
won't be
that
for long.
it's a win. The only thing that I would disagree with this attorney general, I don't think minors should be doing it, but when it comes to adults, I think adults should be able to do whatever they want to their body. So whatever decision that they want to make, I don't think they should have to go through any type of loops and hoops to, if this is what they want to do at this age and they made that determination as an adult, go ahead and do it.
okay. L Teddy.
This is more of the same. This
Okay.
is more of what we just
And
talked
the
about for
question
the
though,
last 20
but
minutes.
why
And
do
it,
you
like I
feel
said,
you don't feel
is
like it's gonna stand? You say y'all don't feel like it's gonna be long for it.
because the governor is already on record saying that the legislator has to do this. And if they don't, he's going to call a special session of the legislature in order to force them to do this. And the problem that we have with all of this is go away the whole life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's all about Do you fit into our four sides of the box? White, male, heterosexual, and Christian. If you don't fit within those four sides of the box, and there's a lot of focus right now on trans rights, gay rights, and everything, but I'm telling you, all of us that are on this thing right now, we are missing the forest for the trees because once they come for one marginalized group, they are coming for them all. There are rights being stripped away from black people as well. But every time you bring that up, black
What
people say,
rights are
"Oh no,
those?
that's a whole different story. Don't talk about that because they ain't coming for black
What rights
people."
are being
And it's
restricted from
a
black people?
slippery slope. This is happening.
What rights are being restricted from black people?
Dante, you already know that you finna go on your talking
I
points
mean,
that
I'm
you
not there.
read
There is no
from.
talking points. I want to know
Listen,
what can a
I
black
mentioned.
person
Hold
not
on,
do
Dante.
in
You know why I say that,
2023?
Dante? Because
What a black
earlier,
person cannot
hold
do? What
on,
rights are
because
being
earlier when we
restricted?
talked about the
And
book,
here,
you
as I said
said
before, when you say
when I
Caucasian,
told
there
you
are black people that actually
when
support these things
I
too. So what are you going to
told
say?
you that this was happening with the books for the gay books as well as the black books, you wanted no parts of hearing it as if you knew, and you were very wrong. So anything I say at this
Actually,
point,
everything I've said on here
you
has been
are
wrong.
going
You're
to,
speaking
you're
more from
going to try to
feelings.
find a way
You're speaking
to
more
say
from
that that's
facts.
not how that goes. And I'm
And
telling you, that's how it goes. I'm
okay.
certified to teach freaking English in Florida, the state where we're talking about.
These
I
teachers,
have all of the
just
language. I
because you're
know
certified
exactly what
doesn't
it
mean you
says.
have the
So you
knowledge. A
can't
lot of
tell
these
me.
teachers
I
can go
have it
through
right here.
certification, but they still
I
aren't
have it right
stupid
here.
and
You're
don't have
very
the
wrong,
intelligence
sir.
to actually teach.
But you
This
are
is
the
why
same
a
one who
lot of
told us
students
that
can't even
you're the same
pass
one who's telling us
a
it's a choice to be
standardized
trans,
test.
right?
Thank you for being
You
a
are the same
certified
one who
teacher and
told us
still
it's a
failing
choice
our
to be trans,
students.
right? So I should listen to that, right? Right?
There
It's a
you
choice
go.
to be trans. That's what you said too.
Yeah.
Mm. Michelle, how do you feel about that?
I live in Georgia.
Understood. Okay, yeah. I think overall, I do think if it could stay there, that's a definitely a win on there. But like you guys saying, it most likely won't stay. But it's still part of the fight, and we go from there. Yeah.
And can I say one more thing?
Uh-huh.
What's happening here is people's lives are becoming political bargaining
Hell,
chips
Teddy, baby,
because
we ain't
all
got
of
no
these,
life. Trans people, they don't look at trans
and
people as white.
because
They look
the
at us
point
as
that I'm
racist
making
face.
is
Get rid
all of
of
these
them.
rules
Kill them.
that they're putting in place,
Not tell them, Misha.
um,
Kill them.
No one said
all
that.
of these
Dead.
rules that they're
Leave their
putting in
bodies out
place,
for the car. Leave their bodies out for the fucking birds
there's
to eat.
not even
They're
a
not worried
big
about us.
there's not even a big sample size of this stuff going on enough for there to even be this much smoke about. But they put these dog whistles out there. They put these laws in place, and then people's whole lives are affected by these things on all on a political whim or on political dog whistles. It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Mm-hmm. Final thoughts on this, Dante? You good on it?
I said what I had to say, and I stand by it.
That's fair enough, guys. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're going to take a break and we're gonna come back, have one more topic, and then we're going to be getting out of here very soon. All right.
You honestly believe that your music sounds truly, wholeheartedly, I fucking do. My hand is. They don't know what they do. Bitches don't want to make music. They want to fight. Which one? Which one y'all want to do? Cause I'm all about all of it. You already know what it is. RB3L, Rebel, of course. It's high key, the most decorated artist on this platform.
Said you was gonna piss on this man.
No, had no problem with that. I was gonna piss in his mouth.
I know.
And I wanted him to get the heck away.
Piss in my mouth!
Oh, is that what that was?
Yep.
Once I get negative, then we can take it out. I will beat you.
I don't fuck with none of you guys.
But hold on, let me get something to drink. Let me get something to drink.
All right, guys, and we are back. We're going
That's
to
actually
be
a very nice commercial.
Yeah. You said what? That's it.
Very well put. Very well put.
Yeah. So we got one more topic. Well, we actually have two more. But we're gonna do this last one. Very interesting. So this one we're gonna do. Hold on 1 minute. I do apologize for that. In the meantime, El Teddy, um, can you tell the people exactly how could they connect with you? I know you also do a lot of live. You do silly Saturdays and stuff.
Yes, my you can find me on YouTube at the name here, L Teddy 27 official. We do television show reviews. We go live. We talk politics. We talk pop culture. We get debaucherous at times. So we're very multifaceted here, and well rounded. It's a lot of fun over there, with me. So yeah.
Okay. And how are you feeling about the topic so far today over here?
But hey, you know me. I can flex my muscle anywhere I go. You know, I fit anywhere. I am. I oh,
Okay.
oh,
No, I
okay.
got you. Hold on,
Oh,
let me.
I didn't know what happened, but
Melanated.
I can. Oh wow, wait.
Wait, I don't know how that happened. I'm sorry about that, guys. Okay, we got it now. We got it right. Okay. Now, what you were saying?
I can hold my own wherever I am in any arena.
I know. Yeah. How about how are you feeling so far, Misha?
I'm desensitized.
You decent. Okay. Okay. What about you, Dante?
Still smiling and standing.
Yes, well, okay, okay. So our next topic, guys, we're gonna deal with, which is Houston lesbian bar denied insurance over drag shows owners. That's what they're saying. So what we mean by that is let me get the facts on this because I want to make sure I give you guys the facts. Texas lesbian bar deny insurance for hosting drag shows. Owner says. So this is the detail. The owners of Houston only lesbian bar say her business is in jeopardy after it was denied insurance coverage, and she is putting the blame in part of the anti-gay bill moving through Texas. Texas. They overwrite deny us the honor right because we host drag shows. So what I want to ask you guys, how do you think this going to affect in terms of, we do know we have a lot of, especially in Houston, and Atlanta, we have a lot of black entertainers that do drags, expression, all those different things. Do you think if they put this pressure on owners, on like in these conservative states where they're not giving them insurance, where they able to even be open, do you think that this will affect the money that most drag people make? Because most time people that do drag, that's how they make their bread and butter. But if they put that pressure on the owner, or the owners are feeling that pressure, what insurance companies and policies are saying, we're not going to give you insurance where you can even be open and different things like that. Do you think that that would be a way to eliminate these type of drag shows in terms of these red states like Texas and Florida and different things like that?
Can I ask you a
Well, I think
question?
it. Go ahead,
Can I
Misha.
ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
If they start selling cameras, YouTube, Stream Live, um, Zoom, and all those media outlets, wouldn't it take away your bread and butter?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay, well
definitely.
there you go. Well there you.
Okay, Dante.
No, yes.
How do you feel
To
about
answer
that?
your question, Greg, I think huh?
Looking at the facts of what this situation where that they were denied insurance. Do you think it was ultimately because of that?
Yeah, I find it. So the bar that you're talking about in particular is called Pure Bar. It's a lesbian bar, 21 years and up to get access in this bar. It's unfortunate that she has to suffer for other bars that have displayed drag shows in front of minors, like Mr. or Garden of Eden. I just kind of find it ridiculous and sad that some people are upset about adult entertainers and performing in front of minors, and not disgusted that some adult entertainers find it pleasurable to perform in front of minors. That's all I really have to say about it.
What do you mean by that? I'm lost.
Just think about it. I mean, we're getting upset about the laws, but we're not getting upset about adult entertainers that find it okay to perform in front of minors. No one is saying that they can't perform. It's just they're performing in front of minors. You have Lips here in Atlanta, Georgia. If you go to Lips, they will tell you you have to be a certain age in there because they are adult entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
The video that went viral last year, I believe sometime in October in Texas, It was at the Garden of Eden. It was a minor who was watching a drag show. I think even one of the participants, one of the audience members, she received a sex toy. And after that video went out, a state lawmaker in Texas said his quote, I think he put it on some platform on social media. He said, when they are back in session, they were going to do this. So the fact that they are doing this should not be a surprise. And unfortunately, this bar owner, she has to suffer with people who really made some
poor because I think she was following the law though, right?
She was following the law, but she, it's sad that her own insurance company, the underwriters told her, they don't want to insure her because they said it would be a high risk.
Didn't we just say it was going to be a slippery slope? Yeah, you go slide down.
Misha, I'm not sure what's the obsession with some gay people and minors, but it's kind of nasty to be honest with you. I mean, I'm just gonna sit here and say
I
don't know what it is.
I don't know
a lot of things that we've been talking about has been involving the minors. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like I can only speak from my experience. I've never been to a drag show where there's a 16-year-old that has not snuck into the club with a fake ID and pretending to be the age.
But again, you continue to bring up inappropriate acts.
I'll let you finish. Let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me finish. I've never seen a drag show outside, inside, in the barn, down the street. I've never seen a 13, 10-year-old whose parent accompanied them or not has been on the front row of a drag show that I have ever went to. I've never seen them be pleasured by any.
When they take the dollars from the children, there's some pleasure.
I've never seen that, and I think you have an issue with the femininity of the LGBTQ community. I don't think it's just the part of trans, or I think it's anything that's feminine. I think it kind of bubbles your stomach a little bit. And what I need you to get used to is you have to be somewhat feminine to take a dick in your mouth or in your ass.
Oh, Jesus!
You have to be some form of feminine. You have to submit. That's what I meant to say, not feminine. You have to submit. You have to submit to get fucked in your ass. You have to submit to suck another man's dick. You have to submit to lick another man's ass if we want to take it there. If that's where we want to take it. Well, because what I'm getting at you, wait a minute, let me finish. I let you finish. Let me finish. When you read the quote from the book, you went straight to the sexual part. You didn't read the footnote. You didn't read the thank you, mom and dad, for giving me the courage to read this book. You didn't go to that. You went straight to the sexual part of it. Everything that goes on.
Parents are upset about, Misha.
Let me finish, Dante. Let me finish. That's what you're giving me. That's what you've given me. I can't speak for Greg and I can't speak for El Teddy. I'm talking about me. Okay. That's what you're giving me. Everything that comes out of your mouth, it goes straight to sex in this episode. It goes straight to sex. Everything is not about sex, boo kitty. If they hire Misha to be a drag queen at Eastside Elementary, I'm not going to go in there and read a fucking Playboy book. That's not what that's I don't think that will be my job, because I have sense. I have nephews, I have nieces, I have respect of person. I respect me first before I can respect another person's child, another person, or anybody. I have to respect me first.
So like I said, it's okay for drag queens to perform.
Can I go at some point? Because there's been a lot of that.
El Teddy, you can
go ahead.
Let me start by saying, I find it really weird and really funny how there's this whole new thing that, drag queens are sex workers, because I've been to hundreds of drag shows in my life, and the most I've ever seen a drag queen do is take it the furthest is always late at night at a gay club where there ain't no children. But let's be clear, if there are children at a drag show, they ain't doing sexual stuff because they see children. That's first and foremost. Now, Dante's going to go out here screaming and ranting about this one case just because one person messes up. You punished. Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. If there are people who may do something wrong, because in every single facet of life, there are the faithful who do things wrong, that doesn't mean that you need to go and make this sweeping change. And another thing They talk about the sexual nature of a drag show. You know how many kids I see in places like Twin Peaks and
Oh
Hooters
yeah, that's
and
true.
all types of places where there is sex everywhere, sexual innuendos and every part of it, and nobody bats an eye. There are children there of all ages. Little boys are encouraged to take pictures next to the Hooters girls and all kinds of stuff, and nobody flinches.
Mm.
Nobody has the fucking connections. But now you are now telling insurance. I
Outrage.
want to go back to the crux of the law here. The
Yeah,
crux
because
of
you
the
haven't
law
touched on
here.
that yet.
Neither did you, sir. But
No, I did.
I'll
I
reclaim
did.
my time.
I
No, I'll
did.
reclaim my time because you
No,
never got to the crux of it.
you
The
can
crux,
quote a
sir,
retired
sir, 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 sir. I
state
didn't interrupt you.
representative
Thank
of
you, sir.
Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
It's not going to
But
change
I'm
the fact.
reclaiming my time. Thank you, sir.
You just go
You
ahead.
you
Go
spoke so
ahead.
eloquently earlier.
Because okay.
You spoke real
Thank you for
eloquently, and I'll
coming
let you go
on.
on.
We're about to be
Thank
off
you.
in just
We don't
one
need an
second.
amen corner.
Continue.
Appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
Now, back to what I was saying.
Mhm.
The crux of this is telling insurance companies that they don't have to offer insurance to that person simply based on that, and therein lies the problem. First, you had someone who one did not violate the law, but we knew what this is all about because this did slide down the slippery slope. It slid down the slippery slope of it's not just the fact that there are drag queens there; it's the fact that this is an LGBTQ plus
Oh,
establishment.
thank you.
Mind you, in the very same state and many other states right now, there's legislation on the books that gives medical insurance company, the right not to be able to cover things like PrEP and drugs that apply to people that they feel only goes to gay people, but really goes to everybody. But they've given clearance for insurance companies not to provide insurance to those people as well. This is the slippery slope that we're
That's
going to talk
right.
about. But if you
Right.
want to talk about the sexualization of things in front
And
of
it's way
kids,
past
don't talk
that.
to me about that. You can let kids go to places in Texas like Travis Scott concerts where there's all types of sexual things. The language that you read for me in that book pales in comparison to what kids of all ages hear at those concerts. But nobody's banning the concerts, are they? Are they? Nobody's doing any of this. And it's a misnomer. You're trying to get our eyes off of all of this stuff and not really reveal what it is. It's your hatred. It's you not wanting
That's
people
all it
to
is.
have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for a lot of people, probably including yourself, it's a lot of self-hate. I can't make you straight again, Dante, and that's okay. But it's
Oh,
okay.
God, we don't want to
Trust me, Greg. I figured. It,
of
listen, I love myself. I have a man who loves me. I'm sorry. You've been speaking a lot of bitterness on this phone, and that's probably
I'm
No,
the
bitter.
first.
I'm not
Actually,
bitter.
it has been bitter, and it has been coming from a place of hurt because I smile. I'm happy with myself. I've
Very
been on. I've been
happy.
talking about all these laws, and guess what? I stand by what I say. I'm not a fake person. I'm not a phony person. And guess what? I don't live in a matrix world like some people do. I live in what we call the reality. And you might not want to be honest with our young people, but guess what? I will be that person. You can hate what I say, but it's the truth. Because once they log off of this, they're going to step into their real world, and the real world is going to hit them.
What version of the truth? It's not necessarily the truth.
Oh, okay.
Just because you say something's the truth doesn't deem it the truth.
Mr. Certified, actually, once you need to go back and read some of these laws that you misquote, actually.
I'm very aware. Like, once again, just because you say it out your mouth doesn't mean that that's reality, sir.
You can fix your
You're
glasses.
used to
That's
that.
not going to
You're
change the
used to
fact.
that, though. It's all there.
Okay. I'm happy for you.
I'm sure they're in the log cabin waiting for you.
I don't participate in the log cabin, so whatever insults you want to continue to throw at me, this
That is not an insult. People are very happy in the log cabin.
you've thrown two, but
What I
I can
said
sit here
is
and I can
you
throw the
align
same insults
yourself
back
with
to
a group
you,
of
but
people.
I'm not even gonna worry about it
You
because I'm
align
above
yourself
you.
with
I
a
am
group of
above you.
people
I
who
really am.
seem
I
to
am.
be
I'll take that high road.
who seem to be self-soilers in the immortal words
So
of Gwendolyn
okay,
Brooks.
so I'm asking both of y'all this. So when they finally take their spotlight off of trans and drag shows, who in the LGBT you think they're coming after next?
Oh, please! It's not just the trans people that they're coming after. They're coming after the whole of the LGBTQIA plus community. And
I don't
once
even know
they're
this
done
guy.
with
He's
that, please be
they
clear.
just be
Please
going.
be clear. They're coming after not just them, but they're coming after every marginalized group. I look at governors like Abbott, Ivy, and DeSantis, and they look exactly like George Wallace of Alabama back in the late 50s and early 60s. There's no difference.
Yeah, some
Absolutely
of
no
these
difference.
policies are definitely going to like look like that.
So do you think that because it wasn't long ago when gay and trans people were electric shocked to be
Mm-hmm.
straight?
Mm-hmm. And they're
That
trying to go back there. They
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely are trying to go back there.
So when you take your when you to me when you say okay let's ban up all the trans people, put them over here, send them
Who
somewhere.
said ban the trans people, Misha?
Huh?
Who said ban the? Who said ban
No,
the?
I'm saying this.
Okay.
When you do that, then you say let's round up all the performers, you know, because we know they're gay because they wouldn't be dressing like that, performing like that if they wasn't gay. So let's take all the gay and all the performers. Let's ban, you know, let's put them over here. What do you think they're going to do next?
I don't know.
Because it's not
What
going
do
to
you think they're
stop.
gonna do next?
No, I'm asking. It's not going to stop.
What do you do? Okay.
It's not going to stop, and nobody is excluded from it if you get shelter from that LGBTQI ABCD umbrella. It's not going to stop. It may miss you in March, but it's going to hit you next March. It's not going to stop. It's a slippery slope, and they're giving these blanket statements. Okay, let's go after drag shows.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I have been to 100 drag shows. Yes, they may show their breasts. Yes, they may come out in a bikini. Yeah, but there are no children there. I've never seen a child and I'm talking about a child from 6 to, let's say, 16. I've never seen a child there unless they snuck into the bar.
Misha, I'm sorry, but you're okay. You're right. In Atlanta, Georgia, I have not seen a child in a drag show or a club or a bar because they have an age limit, and the owners here in Georgia, they actually follow that age limit. You had in Texas an event called "Drag Your Kids to Pride."
Okay, but Dante, when
that was the name of the event.
Okay, but Dante, when you have those type of things, go with me here. Go with me. When you have those type of things, don't a parent accompany you? So you just read this in a magazine and you just jump on the bus and you go there without your parents knowing where you're going?
I think Dante's saying even if the parents okay with it, they shouldn't be there. I think that's his
but
whole
so you're telling me how to parent my child. I'm listening. Okay, y'all got the answer for everything else. You can tell me. Okay, so
I've been saying that all day, all night.
Okay, I can tell my child, okay, eat your oatmeal for breakfast, eat a banana for a snack, eat a sandwich for lunch, eat a big meal, eat a sensible meal for dinner. Okay, that's parenting my child. But I cannot grab my child by the hand.
Take your child to see a drag show where some of the performers, because not all the drag performers are gyrating or stripping or doing that. Some of them actually sing some ballads. Some of them have some nice performances. Elroy, wait, you can stop talking. Let me finish.
Please don't call me Elroy. My name is El Teddy. It's very easy to pronounce. I am not
Elroy. I'll call you what I want to
call
you.
No, you're not going to call me a dog. Hold on.
I'm that.
Okay, come on, Dante, before you forget it. Come on, Dante, and say it before you forget.
We'll move on from it.
Let's not start calling people dogs.
There should be no minors, in my belief. There should not be any minors at any adult establishment. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, I understand that. But if I'm with my mom or my dad, who are you to tell me? Who are you to tell me how to parent my child? That's what I'm asking you. Who are you?
Would you take your child to a new beach?
Wait, what?
There are children at new beaches.
Would you take your child to a new beach?
If that parent is okay with, I've seen a lot of children at new beaches.
You're missing what I'm saying.
I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. I just feel disgusted that you're saying.
Okay, Dante. So Dante, Misha, and I see you with the little boy, and you walk into a liquor store. I am supposed to stand there and ban you from going in a liquor store with your child?
Misha,
Dante answered the question. Dante answered the question.
Completely different from a new beach.
Dante,
It's completely different
okay, Dante,
from someone
It's
gyrating.
and new beaches are around. It's very legal.
Mr. Teddy, I'm not talking to you anymore. Stay in that little box.
Dante,
No.
answer my
You stay in
question.
your little box. You don't have an answer for the fact that the very same states that allow children in new beaches have a problem with children going to drag shows.
I've answered this question several times.
You can't make answers for. You cannot make sense of the nonsensical. That's the problem. You can't
Dante, answer the question, Dante.
It's actually kind of disgusting that y'all think it's okay for minors to come to or accompany someone, regardless if it's their parents or their friends, to an adult establishment.
Dante, I asked you one question. Is it okay if I see you walking into a liquor store? There's nothing else in there but liquor, alcohol beverages, things that are mixed with alcohol beverages. It's okay for you to walk in there with your child and shop for liquor.
Misha, let me give you
Dante,
the answer.
answer the question.
Walking there with his child.
Dante, answer the question. Do you think that's right?
Dante would not walk in there with his child.
But Dante also approves of those politicians who have their 3- and 4-year-olds with machine guns in their hands and taking wonderful pictures with them because we need to teach them how to have assault rifles.
Or how to handle themselves if dad's not at home.
But a drag show? No drag show. But I'm going to give you a weapon that can blow somebody away and obliterate their body. We're going to do that. That's okay.
No drag shows, but I'm going to leave my cigarettes and my lighter right here and go take a shower. No drag shows, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to sit here next to you and snort coke or do the. No, you can't have it both ways. It's got to be right or it's got to be wrong.
All of it is wrong or shouldn't be happening.
Right. Greg. They're just ranting to be ranting, to be honest with you at this point.
Greg, I'm going to ask you, Greg.
Greg, that you should allow people to live their lives as long as it doesn't infringe. As long as you don't infringe on someone else's rights,
don't you want to do with your child?
Don't create laws that only work for a certain segment of the population and infringes on rights for whole parts and segments of the population. That's not fair.
Just like Greg, if you want to,
no, Misha, I'm not going back and forth with you. I understand you, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm done. I'm done with the topic. I just asked the question. I'm not finna be not doing it. Nope.
Okay,
well, we're closing it out. Right. So, okay, have a good night. So, any other final thoughts before we get to the next segment, guys? Final thoughts about this?
No, I got a man to go lay next to. This is exhausting.
Okay. Any final thoughts? I've had a great time. It's good to hear other sides of the argument and hear people impassioned. I just will say that the only time I took pause, Dante, is I never disrespected you, and you trying to call me the names of dogs. That just was. That's kind of disrespectful. And I wouldn't do that to you.
You should definitely apologize
and I don't expect to come anywhere and be, I wouldn't do that to you, and I don't expect you to do that. And it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much, Greg, for inviting me. Thank you, Misha. Thank you, Dante, and everybody else who was here.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Like I said, at the end of the day, this is type of topics we handle. Everybody had a perspective, but
and that's what it's called, perspective.
Is our perspective, and we've been doing it about 2 years. So I think we have these tough conversations, but we always find a medium place on certain topics. So thank you. I know Misha had to go. Thing got
little heated.
Yeah, but I understand it's tough, but it is what it is. And I do thank you guys for coming through. L Teddy, of course, Dante, of course, and we're gonna be back next Thursday, but we're gonna switch to another topic. Not another topic though, but I know Dante gotta go. I know L Teddy gotta go, but me and Bryant, we're gonna take over from here with our next segment, guys. So thank you guys, and we will.
Thank you.
You got.
Thank you.
Later. How you doing today, hon?
I am good. How are you, love?
I'm doing good. Were you watching everything?
Oh yeah, I've been here the entire time.
Yes, it's been a lot going on.
Yeah, I've definitely been a part of shows like this before. It gets intense, but yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, that's what it's about ultimately, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to get into hold on 1 minute, let me pull this up. Oh, I got it. Mm, why my thing is not coming up? Okay, this slide. So, what's up, guys? So we have a on real life and philanthropy we have coming up. Let me also add the other one too in. So let me get your opinion. What did you think about some of the topic, guys? Brian, what did you think about it? Like, what did you think about the overall conversations? Like, did anything stick out to you? Any pointers?
Um, as far as what you guys were talking about tonight,
Yes, like we talked about like four different topics. Of course, all of them dealing around policies, people perspectives, and all of.
I have a little bit of connection to a few of these topics. I have had opinions on a few of these topics. Um, the drag shows conversation specifically was an interesting one for me because I have a past history in drag and I've actually performed drag in front of children before.
Oh
So,
wow! So
yeah,
how did so
like,
so wow? I definitely want your opinion. How do you feel about that?
I think that if it's a curated space for drag to be performed for children, then I think it's fine. I definitely don't think that children should be incorporated into drag spaces where there are libations available, or into like adult spaces like bars and things of that nature. But however, I performed at pride functions that were curated for children and for parents to bring their children to watch drag. And the situation was curated for, the drag performances to be curated to children. And it wasn't, I think that a lot of views.
What about in terms of what they wear? Do you feel like in terms of the garments they wear, it's revealing stuff? Do you feel like that should be censored and limited as well, or how you feel about that?
I think that, in my personal opinion,
Mhm.
there shouldn't be drag shows shouldn't have sexually curated content in front of children, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
If it's a function that's curated for children, then it should be appropriated as such. Like, there's nobody walking on Sesame Street wearing lingerie.
Right. I got you. That's
You
a
get what I
valid
mean?
point.
That's a
Mhm.
situation that's curated for children. So if a drag show is specifically curated for children, then the numbers and the costumes should also be curated as such,
Mhm.
right? With that being said, there's also television shows like RuPaul's Drag Race who have had simulated nudity on the main runway.
Mhm.
That is an internationally watched television show. So, the conversation becomes complicated when we're talking about drag shows that are specifically curated for children or minors being incorporated into adult spaces where there's drag happening. The implication that the majority of drag performances are sexually natured, and then the commodity that is a television show that has a predominantly young minor audience.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I got you. I got you. And that's where I'm at with it too. Like you say, I do think things need to be monitored and censored when they come down to those things because some people just when they say they just want their children to be a child, whether it's gay or straight. Now, if you make it a gay thing, I have a problem with that. But all across the board, whether it's a straight show, a gay show, a child should not be able to see all of it. Just let that child be in those safe spaces in terms of what they deem a child environment should be. So to me, it's not a gay thing or a straight thing. I just feel like any sexuality or sexual thing like that, it shouldn't be part of anything for a child. That's where I come from, my perspective. on that.
Sure, and I agree with that aspect of it. I just don't feel like drag should be considered something that is inherently sexual.
Got
You
you. I understood. Understood. Okay, I can get that. I get that. But what about the one that dress a certain way, or they gyrate a certain way, or they do those things? So how would you identify that?
adult curated space, then that's an adult curated space, which is why I'm saying that there shouldn't be children and minors in places like bars and clubs that are adult spaces where adult curated drag would be happening. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for everything, and there have been drag shows that are specifically curated for children, just like when drag queens have gone to read to children in libraries. They're not walking into they aren't reading Zane to children in libraries. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Reading Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the time and a place, and what you're doing is being curated to a certain time and a place. Just like people who host TV shows, they may also get booked to host clubs at night. The type of content that they curate for a nighttime audience wouldn't necessarily be the type of content that they would curate for a daytime audience. Do you get what I'm saying?
Understood. 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 Okay, so let's get on to our business, right? So we came on to talk about our new segment coming back. With it inspired by a segment we did on Real Life Philanthropy Season 2, which is Who's Raw, Real, and Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can say that you did already film the first one, which is phenomenal, which is gonna come out sometime tomorrow, right? So can you talk about what can the people expect for what's raw and what's real? What's raw, real, ridiculous?
I'm excited that you asked me to do this. I saw the previous installment with Sir Akeem, shout out to him, and it was really fun. And I'm somebody who has a lot of opinions, and I leave very thoroughly worded comments. So what you guys can expect is me recapping the episodes from all things real life, reality, and just talking about in a compartmentalized format, really the rawest moments, the realest cast members, and the most ridiculous antics from the episode. And I think that it's going to be fun because curating it into this specific context of raw, real, ridiculous, it gives me three very specific categories to place my opinions under. So it's giving me a new way to channel the way that I watch the show. So it's been really fun because these girls on Real Life and Music really got it going on. Y'all are very busy on Real Life and Music.
Let's break down some of what happened last night. Let's break it down. What did you think about last night? What did you think about the Leon scene and all of that? Just give us a snippet, and then we're gonna just stop right there. What do you think about the kickball scene where Bo coming up and he confront Leon because of what Leon basically wanted this smoke for him, and when Leon met him 2 weeks ago, he wasn't giving that energy. So, what did you think about that whole?
I think that the kickball game was fun until it was over. And I think that this entire situation, I don't understand why Leon's credentials are in such question. I understand the validity of the comments. Like, I understand why they feel the way that they feel. I don't understand why we are talking about this in episode 5. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right. Well, it started from episode 3. Because everybody's not coming to the scene.
The Harley of it all, which really, and y'all will see this in my first recap because I start with episode 4, right? And I'm going to speak lightly about the whole karma and Harley of it all because I have a very similar sentiment to what's been going around as far as like, girl, like in the words of Razor Behavior, ain't that your friend?
But at the same time, Karma had just met her too.
See, that's what I need clarification on. It's like, are y'all supposed to be friends?
Everybody literally just met the first day of filming. Not most everybody. So
she don't really owe her nothing. Like if y'all were if y'all were really just getting to know each other and like all of that, then you don't necessarily owe her loyalty. But from a morality perspective,
right? That's what Harley was saying. If we
to be going after somebody you already think is connected to somebody, it looks like you're going behind somebody.
Exactly. That's what Harley was coming from. 'Cause she said it's the thing that you say you think we was going together, so why would you even try him?
Right. And I agree with that. It's like, well, girl, if you already thought the man was spoken for, then why you trying to have a side conversation?
Right. What about the situation with Bo? Did you enjoy Activated Bo?
I seeing anybody activated, get I always start to lean in and watch very closely because I wonder where the activation is coming from. I always wonder, like, is it something that you're doing because there's a camera on? Is there tension built up? Is there something that you just really need to say and you're just like, are you just up to here? And with this situation, everything Vo said was right. I
Okay.
felt everything Vo said. I was like, listen, if this is why I'm tired of hearing this Leon conversation, because if we've already had this conversation once when Ty Valentino very blatantly asked you, who have you managed in the past?
But
Where's
Bo
your
wasn't there though, so that's what I'm saying. That's what happened when everybody don't come to filming. We have to talk about it again because of one person was there. So by Bo wasn't there that night, of course, Bo hearing his name been circulating in the group, he's gonna be like, what's going on? So that's why I came up at the kickball because you remember when I did the flashback, it showed him and Leon actually sitting down having a decent conversation. So it's like, where is the energy coming from?
right?
When Leon showed up at Atlanta Station, he was on one. He was very much like, who been talking shit? Let me check you.
And I completely get that. Like, Bo's reasoning for confronting Leon made sense. It's like, okay, well, if we don't already have this conversation positively, why am I now hearing negative feedback about it later? That's fine. I just don't understand why we're still having conversation questioning what Leon does.
Got you. I got
Why
you.
are we
But
still
I guess
questioning
too
the
because
radio station?
a
Like,
lot the whole group never came to him in his face. So this is the first time that the group is saying as a whole what you do, because if you know that they never really just said to him like as a collective, like, girl, we really don't understand what you do. So I think this kind of like the final part. It's the final, you know.
Yeah, I saw just a little bit of the after show, and I'll go deeper into that on my recap. But I am glad that this is the last, like the last that we're hearing about it. I hate that it's the last that we're gonna see of them, because no shade, we didn't get to see much of Harley and her brush, but I wish we would have gotten more.
I totally agree because I think Harley and her brush is a meal by itself. Because
Harley and her brush is a key. Like I rewatch the first episode all the time just to see Harley with her.
yeah, it's that brush. And right after the kickball, she got the brush and pulled it right back out. And was sliding the hair. So I'm like, okay, Harley, like
I really think that was the only comment that I had for the actual YouTube comments. I was like, one thing about Harley, she don't have a brush. She will have a
that
brush.
is hilarious. I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited. I'm telling you, I watched your first episode. I laughed, and it is, it's hilarious, but you definitely like, So it's that come out tomorrow. We're gonna put that out tomorrow. So I'm really excited for people to watch that and see that. And I'm really excited for you to just do more in the real life reality space, in terms of commentary, give me your opinion, and of course, like you see, even be probably a guest on the Black Gay Perspective, where you see it really get we talk about like those type of topics. We don't really talk about pop culture. We like talk about things that actually affect the world, and those things really get heated. It get heated.
Oh, trust me, if you've looked at my YouTube channel, that's pretty much where the predominance of my content has been based before my podcast, Real Reality Realness, where most of this audience will like probably know me from now. I've spent a lot of my time before doing that podcast talking about social awareness issues, human rights issues, and all of that stuff, specifically nuanced within the pop culture space. So I kind of was doing like a hybrid of this where I was talking about what you guys were talking about as it's related to pop culture, because people kind of don't tend to recognize the severity of things until you break it down to a level of something that they understand. So a lot of people aren't going to be able to comprehend conversations around racism, colorism, and all of that just based off the strength of the information. But if you put it in the context of something like The Real Housewives,
that's true. I got you.
Like, oh,
that's a great point. I love it. That's a great point. Okay.
So
Any
yeah.
final thoughts? Any final thing where the people can follow you at? Like I said, the first episode drop tomorrow. We got the flyer coming out and stuff too. I'm really excited for you to see that. And I'm excited for you to take over Raw, Real, and Ridiculous. I know each week you're going to be talking about it. You're going to even do Real Life and Philanthropy too when that come out later this year. The summer, so I'm excited. Final thoughts, comments. How can the people connect with you?
You guys can find me at my main page, which is where all of my like content and stuff is, at 3 Real Productions. The number 3, the word real, the word productions, no, scores and underspaces and all of that type of stuff. Just 3 Real Productions. That's where you mostly can find me. If you want to find out what I'm doing personally, you can subscribe to my page, Brian James, but I'm really not over there that much. But mostly what I want to say is subscribe to Real Life Reality. Stay tuned. You guys will be seeing a lot more of me, and I appreciate you, Greg, for having me, for the opportunity. Who's Raw, Real, and Ridiculous is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I laugh. I was watching it back to back. It was hilarious. So hopefully the cast found it hilarious and a little bit shady too. So I'm excited for them to see that.
Well, I've seen the cast interacting with some of my comments on social media.
Oh my God! I haven't seen that yet. I gotta go back and look at those.
I've seen some interactions going on with the cast, and I've been keeping up with the stories on the Real Life and Reality page, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see you. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't wait to see
And
you.
then we also got some coming up too at the end of the month too. I can't wait till people see that though when they come out later, like within the middle. When they come out like in June, July. So I'm excited for that too with the anime.
Yes,
All
we
right, thank you so much for coming through, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Black Gay Perspective live show. Catch us next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're available, Brian, we would love to have you back as a co-host on some topics so we can get into some things. And you see that, we got some Republicans, we got some independents, we got some Democrats. So of course we're gonna be, seeing things very much different. On that note, guys, y'all have a good night, and thank you so much, Mr. Brian James, again.
Thank you. Mwah.
Y'all have a good night, guys. Thank you.